Hello, it's Judith here, and today I'm going to talk to you about smoking, or rather not smoking. And I'm very highly qualified to talk to you about this one because I am an ex-smoker. I am a non-smoker, and I absolutely guarantee that I will be a non-smoker for the rest of my life. But I had a very checkered history with smoking. Both my parents smoked, but I didn't until the age of 18 when a friend offered me a cigarette, as happens to many of us. And yeah, I took to it like a duck to water and continued to smoke until I had my 2 children. When I stopped, all the way through my first pregnancy until my second child was, 3 or 4. So for several years. How stupid was that? I'd gone past all the difficulties of stopping smoking, way past them. And why did I start again? I wish I could tell you, but, well, I can tell you actually, because I, like many smokers still do, believed that cigarettes helped me deal with stress. And like many people through that period of their lives and for some time afterwards, I had 2 children, I had a full-time job, I had a husband, a house, and sick parents. So there were times when I really felt I was carrying the world on my shoulders, and I really believed that smoking helped me. So I took it up again. I gave it up several years later when I had a major health scare. And guess what? Even more stupidly, after several years of being a non-smoker, I started again and finally gave up when I had another major health scare. I did get the message in the end. And I have now been a non-smoker for nearly 18 years. And as I say, I am going to be a non-smoker for the rest of my life. I do work with people who smoke, but I am very careful about who I take on. And I've had 2 smokers recently, and one succeeded and one didn't. And yeah, I probably shouldn't have taken on the one who didn't because I was doubtful. But she did really, really want to work with me. And that's about my success rate. And yeah, other people will say very different things, but my honest success rate is, of the people I've worked with, I reckon 50% are still not smoking. And the other 50% either never gave up or started fairly quickly or have started since. So that is my honest statistic, if you like. Actually, and I'm ashamed to admit this, giving up smoking is not that difficult. And I knew that after the first time I did it, and I certainly knew it after the second time I did it, so why didn't I do it sooner? The last time I can remember, the final time when I gave up, I was not fit to live with for a week. Irritable, bad-tempered, angry, just generally not fit to be with, not even another human being, not even another animal. I just was not fit to be with, but only for a week. And after that first week, the next week was easier, and the next, and the next, and the next. So it is not as difficult as most of us believe when we're smoking. The other thing that helped me, apart from the knowledge, was that it actually was quite easy to do, was I read a book by a guy called Alan Carr, not the comedian. The Alan Carr I'm talking about worked with smokers and is unfortunately now dead. He wrote a book about women giving up smoking because there are some differences. But one of the things that's common that I took out of that book was we all believe that cigarettes help us relieve our stress. But in fact, the only stress that cigarettes help us relieve is the stress of the addiction to nicotine. My belief is that nicotine is still, by some small percentage, the most addictive drug on the planet. And yet you can still buy it in shops, albeit that it's behind closed doors, but it's readily available. So it isn't that your cigarette is relieving your stress. It is just relieving the stress of the addiction, which says, give me nicotine now, immediately, now. The other thing, as I say, for those of you who are watching this who are female smokers, many of us are concerned about giving up smoking because of putting on weight. And I've had a weight issue all my life as well as a smoking issue. So I had to make a very firm decision, which was, which is going to kill me quickest, being overweight or smoking. And I decided that smoking was going to kill me quicker, or more likely to kill me than being overweight. So I would deal with the smoking. I wouldn't worry about my weight initially. And then I would deal with the weight loss, which is exactly what I did. Unfortunately, smoking changes our metabolism, so stopping means we're probably going to put on a few pounds, maybe half a stone, just by stopping smoking. And then there's the issue of the mouth benefits of smoking, if you like, putting something in your mouth. We're more likely to start putting more food in our mouth, and often sweet food or carbohydrates to comfort us. So yeah, there are some issues around weight and smoking, but as I say, yeah, try not to deal with both of them at the same time. So I gave up smoking 18 years ago. I'm never going to smoke again. And if you are absolutely ready, or somebody you know is absolutely ready, then I can help you. But the individual who is going to give up smoking has to really have made the decision that this is it, I am going to stop smoking. Many of us want to give up smoking, but we don't actually want to give up smoking. I mean, as soon as somebody says to me, I'm going to find it hard because I really enjoy it, I would say, you're not ready. And it's the sort of thing I would have said. So nobody can give up smoking because somebody else is begging them to. Nobody can give up smoking because their doctor's telling them to. The only way you can give up smoking is because you have decided, as I did 18 years ago, that this was it. I'd risked enough and I was going to stop. And at that time, maybe it was too late. Fortunately, it doesn't appear to have been. And I'm jolly thankful that I made that decision. And it's a decision I will never, ever regret. The other aspect of smoking that is difficult, apart from the addiction and the belief that it's helping us manage stress, is that it becomes habitual. Our brains are brilliant at automating things that we do on a regular basis. So we don't even have to think, oh, I quite fancy a cigarette. We just automatically reach for a cigarette. So when I work with smokers, obviously the addiction is something that just has to be lived through, but there are ways that I can give people to help them get through that. We also do work on the habit breaking, and I leave them with tools to help them with cravings, which will gradually get less and less until suddenly people realize, oh, I haven't thought about smoking for ages. Oh, and that's when you know you're there, you're a non-smoker. Now, there is always a risk. I'll finish with a slightly amusing story. Probably 6 months after I gave up for the last time, I went on holiday with a friend to Antigua, and I said to her, she was still smoking, and I said to her, look, please don't let me smoke on this holiday. No matter what happens, you have my permission to do whatever it takes to stop me from smoking. And we had a wet afternoon, and we were sitting at the beach bar working our way through the cocktail menu, as you do. and chatting to people, and this guy offered me a cigarette, and it was my brand, and I just took it and went to put it in my mouth, and my friend leant across, snatched the cigarette out of my hand and took it away from me, and he looked at me and said, "Is she allowed to do that?" And I said, "Yes, she has my permission, unfortunately." But I am forever thankful to that friend, because without her being there, I would have smoked that cigarette. And as any of you smokers will know that have given up and then had a cigarette off following a drink or two, that's it. Each time I smoked, I very quickly got back to the amount I was smoking before, and then some. So that's been a bit about me and my smoking journey. So, you know, I do understand when I work with smokers, I do understand how they're feeling and what they're facing, but I am living proof that it's possible to stop, and I am very, very willing to help anybody who has made that decision that this is it, this is stupid, I'm going to stop it, and stop it for life, because I think that's the other key thing. The first couple of times I stopped smoking, which always gave the possibility of starting again. The last time, I very carefully made the decision that I was going to become a non-smoker for life, which gave me no leeway to start again. So, share this video with anybody you know who maybe is thinking of, or should be thinking of, in your view, stopping smoking. But as I say, I never work with smokers who somebody else has sent to me, or where somebody else has contacted me on their behalf, because there is no point. There is only one person that can stop smoking, and that is the person who is smoking. But there will be more about smoking coming along in the next few weeks and months, and some ways of helping you. So yeah, keep a lookout in the autumn for some help. But in the meantime, if you want to give up, then you know where I am. Okay then, lovely to talk to you, and as always, until I'm here again, stay safe and stay well. Bye.